Have you ever witnessed someone being underestimated, only to discover they hold the power to change everything? This story will show you why respecting everyone in your path isn't just right, it's essential. Stay until the end to discover how this medical student's response transformed an entire hospital culture. Dr. Maya Johnson stood at the entrance of Westbrook Memorial Hospital, her white coat crisp against her dark skin, name tag proudly displaying M. Johnson, MD, PhD, alongside the words, Incoming Chief of Cardiology. At 32, she was one of the youngest doctors to achieve such a position at a prestigious institution. Her journey, marked by scholarships, research breakthroughs, and unwavering determination, had prepared her for this moment. Yet nothing could prepare her for what awaited inside. The hospital bustled with activity as nurses rushed past. Patients waited in corridors, and doctors consulted charts. Maya had arrived a week early, wanting to observe the hospital's operations before officially beginning her role. She decided not to announce herself to most staff, a strategy she learned from her mentor to gain unfiltered insights into workplace culture. Maya approached the nurse's station on the cardiology floor. "Excuse me, I'm looking for the director's office, Dr. William Pearson." The nurse glanced up, eyebrows slightly raised. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I'd like to speak with him if possible. He's very busy today." "Are you a patient family member?" Maya smiled patiently. "No, I'm a physician. I just need a moment of his time." The nurse's expression softened slightly. "Oh, are you the new resident? Orientation is actually in the East Wing." "I'm not a resident," Maya replied evenly. "I'm a cardiologist." Before the nurse could respond, a tall man in his 50s approached, his silver hair and confident stride commanding attention. "Nancy, were those files I asked for an hour ago?" His voice carried the sharp edge of authority. "I'm sorry, Dr. Pearson. I'll get them right away," the nurse responded, immediately turning away. Maya extended her hand. "Dr. Pearson, He cut her off with a dismissive wave. "If you're looking for the volunteer office, it's on the first floor." Maya's hand remained extended. "I'm not a volunteer." Dr. Pearson sighed, checking his watch. "Look, I'm extremely busy. Whatever shadowing program you're with, you need proper clearance. Talk to student services." A younger doctor nearby tried to catch Pearson's eye, shaking his head subtly, but the director continued. "This is a teaching hospital, yes, but we have protocols. You can't just wander around in a white coat. Especially in cardiology, we handle critical cases." The hallway had grown quiet. Several staff members had stopped to watch the interaction, discomfort evident on their faces. Maya lowered her hand, her expression composed despite the public dismissal. "I understand the importance of protocols. Dr. Pearson, perhaps we could discuss them in your office rather than the hallway." "Young lady, I don't have time to explain hospital policy to every pre-med student who—" "Dr. Maya Johnson," came a warm voice from behind them. Dr. Helena Rivera, the hospital's chief of medicine, approached with a broad smile. "You're early. We weren't expecting you until next week." The color drained from Pearson's face as Rivera continued. "I see you met William. He'll be reporting directly to you as our new chief of cardiology." The hallway fell silent. Dr. Pearson's mouth opened slightly, then closed. "Dr. Pearson and I were just discussing hospital protocols," Maya said evenly. "Very important subject." Rivera beamed. "Excellent. Maya comes to us from Johns Hopkins, where she revolutionized their treatment protocols for underserved communities. The board was unanimous in their decision to bring her on." She turned to Pearson. "William, why don't you show Dr. Johnson your department? I'm sure she'd appreciate the tour from someone with your experience." Pearson's jaw tightened. "Of course," he managed. As they walked away, Maya could hear whispers erupting behind them. This wasn't the first time she'd been underestimated, and she knew it wouldn't be the last. But as she followed Pearson's stiff back down the hallway, she wasn't thinking about the slight. She was calculating exactly how to turn this uncomfortable beginning into an opportunity for meaningful change. The cardiology department was impressive, state-of-the-art equipment, dedicated staff, remarkable outcomes for certain populations. But as Pearson robotically highlighted achievements, Maya noticed what wasn't being said. No mention of community outreach. No data on outcomes across different demographics. No recognition of the support staff who appear predominantly Black and Latino. Your technical capabilities are impressive, Maya acknowledged as they completed the tour. But I'd like to see your community engagement initiatives and demographic outcome data. Pearson's brow furrowed. We treat everyone who comes through our doors with the same standard of care. I'm sure that's the intention, Maya replied. But intention and impact are different matters. I'd like to see the numbers. Our focus has been clinical excellence, not social experiments, he said, tension evident in his voice. Maya stopped walking. Dr. Pearson, treating diverse populations effectively isn't a social experiment. It's medical necessity. Cardiovascular disease presents differently across demographics. Ignoring that isn't just bad policy, it's bad medicine. For the first time, Pearson looked directly at her. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite respect, but recognition. My office will send over the data we have, he said finally. Maya nodded. Thank you. And Dr. Pearson? I understand change can be challenging, but I didn't come here to disrupt for disruption's sake. I came because Westbrook has the potential to lead in equitable cardiac care. I hope we can work together toward that goal. He gave a curt nod before excusing himself, leaving Maya alone in the hallway. Later that afternoon, as Maya set up her temporary office, a knock came at the door. It was Dr. Chun, a junior cardiologist she'd met on the tour. Dr. Johnson, I wanted to apologize for what happened earlier. You have nothing to apologize for, Dr. Chun. Still, it was uncomfortable to witness. But I wanted you to know, not everyone here shares those perspectives. Maya smiled. I never assume one person represents an entire institution. That's why I'm here early, to understand the full picture. Chin hesitated. There's something else. We've been collecting our own data on cardiac outcomes across demographic groups. Unofficially, it's not comprehensive, but it might give you a starting point. He handed her a flash drive. Why unofficially? Maya asked. Dr. Pearson didn't see the value, said it would divert resources from real medicine. Maya took the drive, determination settling in her chest. Thank you, Dr. Chun. This is exactly the kind of initiative we'll be supporting moving forward. As Chun left, Maya turned to her window overlooking the city. Her first day had revealed exactly what she needed to know. The technical excellence was there, but the culture needed transformation. And despite the rocky start, she'd also found allies. She would need them all for what came next. The flash drive from Dr. Chin revealed what Maya had suspected: significant disparities in cardiac outcomes across racial and socioeconomic lines. Black and Latino patients were receiving diagnoses at later stages, experiencing longer wait times for procedures, and showing higher mortality rates even when controlling for disease severity. The data wasn't just troubling. It represented real lives being diminished by systemic failures. Maya spent her evening reviewing patient files, institutional policies, and the unofficial research. By morning, she had drafted a preliminary plan for departmental transformation. This wasn't just about confronting Dr. Pearson. It was about reshaping an entire system that had normalized inequality under guise of medical neutrality. When she arrived at the hospital the next day, Maya noticed subtle shifts in how staff regarded her. Word had spread. Some approached with warm welcomes and eager introductions. Others watched from a distance, uncertainty in their expressions. Change always created ripples, and Maya knew that resistance wasn't personal. It was institutional. Dr. Rivera had arranged a formal introduction meeting with the cardiology department. Maya arrived early, arranging her materials at the front of the conference room. One by one, physicians, nurses, technicians, and support staff filed in. Dr. Pearson entered last, choosing a seat near the back. Good morning, Maya began, her voice steady and clear. I'm Dr. Maya Johnson, your new chief of cardiology. I've spent the last decade specializing in interventional cardiology with a focus on equitable healthcare delivery. I'm here because Westbrook has tremendous potential, but also significant room for growth. She displayed the first slide: cardiac outcome disparities across patient demographics. These numbers tell a story, but not the complete one. Behind each percentage point are people whose lives depend on our care. Our department delivers excellent results for some patients, but not consistently for all communities. A hand rose from the middle of the room. Dr. Sandra Miller, a veteran cardiologist in her 60s. With respect, Dr. Johnson, we follow identical protocols for all patients. These disparities likely reflect delayed care-seeking behaviors in certain populations, not our treatment approaches. Maya nodded, acknowledging the comment. That's a common assumption, Dr. Miller, and partially accurate. However, our data shows disparities even among patients who present at similar stages with similar symptoms. She advanced to the next slide. For instance, black women with chest pain wait an average of 47 minutes longer for EKGs than white male patients with identical symptoms. This isn't about individual prejudice. It's about unconscious patterns embedded in our systems. From the back, Dr. Pearson spoke up. These are cherry-picked statistics. Our overall cardiac survival rates are among the highest in the state. Yes, they are, Maya agreed, for certain demographics. Excellence shouldn't be selective, Dr. Pearson, and addressing these gaps will improve our outcomes for everyone. She moved through her presentation methodically, highlighting both strengths and weaknesses in the department. When she reached her proposed changes, updated triage protocols, community outreach initiatives, bias training, and diverse hiring practices, the room's tension was palpable. This isn't just about diversity for diversity's sake, Maya explained, meeting the eyes of skeptical staff members. Studies consistently show that diverse medical teams make more accurate diagnoses and deliver better care across all patient populations. Dr. Chin spoke up. I've observed these patterns myself, especially with our Spanish-speaking patients. When we added bilingual staff to the cardiac care unit, compliance with post-discharge instructions improved by 38%. Maya smiled gratefully at the support. Exactly. These changes aren't abstract theories. They're practical improvements with measurable impacts. As the meeting concluded, Maya invited questions. Several hands shot up, ranging from enthusiastic to confrontational. She addressed each with respect, never dismissing concerns, but never backing down from her vision either. Dr. Pearson remained silent until the room had mostly emptied. As staff filed out, he approached the front. Ambitious agenda, he said, his tone unreadable. The board won't approve half these initiatives. The budget won't support it. Maya gathered her materials calmly. I've already discussed preliminary funding with Dr. Rivera and the board. They're supportive, particularly since many of these changes will actually reduce long-term costs by improving outcomes and reducing readmissions. The medical staff won't adapt easily to this level of change, he countered. You're disrupting protocols that have been in place for decades. Change is never comfortable, Dr. Pearson. But I'm not asking anyone to compromise on clinical excellence, only to extend it to all patients. His jaw tightened. You've been here 2 days, and you're already suggesting we've been providing substandard care. Maya met his gaze directly. I'm suggesting we can do better. There's a difference. Some would say you're advancing too quickly because of your position. The implication hung in the air between them. Maya had heard variations of the sentiment throughout her career, that her achievements were somehow diminished by assumptions about affirmative action rather than earned through merit. My position was earned through years of dedicated work, research, and results, she replied evenly. Just like yours. I hope we can focus on our shared goal of providing exceptional care, rather than questioning each other's credentials. Dr. Pearson didn't respond immediately. Something in her calm confidence seemed to unsettle him. I've been running this department for 15 years, he finally said, and I recognize that experience. Maya acknowledged. Your clinical expertise is valuable, Dr. Pearson. I'm not here to discard what works, only to address what doesn't. Before he could respond, Maya's phone buzzed with an emergency alert. Cardiac arrest in the ER. We should both respond. They rushed downstairs together, professional urgency temporarily suspending their tension. The patient was a 42-year-old black woman, unconscious and in critical condition. History? Maya asked as she examined the patient. The ER resident fumbled with a chart. Complained of jaw pain and fatigue since yesterday. Was initially diagnosed with TMJ and anxiety. Return today with worsening symptoms. Maya looked up sharply. Classic presentation of female cardiac symptoms, often misdiagnosed. Let's get her to cath lab immediately. Dr. Pearson hesitated. Shouldn't we run additional tests first? Her initial troponin was borderline. She's presenting with textbook female MI symptoms that were dismissed earlier. Maya responded firmly. Every minute increases muscle damage. We move now. Without waiting for his agreement, Maya began directing the team. To his credit, Dr. Pearson quickly adapted, working alongside her as they rushed the patient to the catheterization lab. The procedure was complex but successful. Maya worked with practiced precision, locating and clearing a 90% blockage in the left anterior descending artery, the widowmaker. Throughout, she calmly directed the team, including Dr. Pearson, who followed her lead without further challenge. Hours later, with the patient stabilized and recovering, Maya completed her documentation. Dr. Pearson approached as she finished. "Good call in there," he said simply. Maya nodded. "It was a team effort, but your diagnosis saved critical time." He paused. "That patient might have received different treatment without your intervention." "That's exactly my point about our systems," Maya said gently. "It's not about individual competence, but institutional patterns. That woman nearly died because her symptoms didn't fit the standard male presentation emphasized in medical training." For the first time, something shifted in Dr. Pearson's expression. Not quite acceptance, but a crack in his certainty. "Your presentation today," he said slowly. "The data about black women's cardiac symptoms being dismissed, it wasn't theoretical for you, was it?" Maya considered her response carefully. Personal disclosures could either build bridges or be weaponized, depending on the recipient. "My mother died of a heart attack when I was 12, she finally said. She'd gone to the ER twice with jaw pain, nausea, and fatigue. Both times, she was sent home with antacids and anxiety medication. By the time anyone recognized her heart attack, it was too late. The admission hung between them, transforming their dynamic from hierarchical to human. "I'm sorry," Dr. Pearson said, and seemed to mean it. "I didn't become a cardiologist because of personal grievance," Maya clarified. "I did it because I saw a system that needed improvement. The same reason I came to Westbrook." As they stood in the quiet corridor outside the recovery room, the power dynamics between them subtly realigned, not into friendship or even alliance yet, but into a space where change might become possible. 3 months passed like a whirlwind of change at Westbrook Memorial. Maya's initiatives had begun taking root throughout the cardiology department, spreading outward like ripples in a still pond. The resistance she'd initially faced hadn't disappeared entirely. Change never comes without friction, but something profound was shifting in the hospital's culture. Maya stood at the window of her office, watching the sunset paint the city skyline in gold and amber. A knock at her door broke her reverie. "Come in," she called. Turned to find Dr. Pearson standing in the doorway, a folder tucked under his arm. "Do you have a moment?" he asked, his tone lacking the defensiveness that had characterized their early interactions. "Of course." Maya gestured to the chair across from her desk. "What's on your mind?" Pearson sat, placing the folder between them. "The quarterly numbers. I thought you want to see them right away." Maya opened the file, scanning the statistics with growing satisfaction. Cardiac outcomes had improved across all demographics. Wait times had equalized. Patient satisfaction scores had risen significantly among previously underserved populations. "This is remarkable progress," she said, looking up at him. "Everyone in the department should be proud. It's your leadership that made the difference," Pearson acknowledged, the admission clearly not coming easily to him despite its sincerity. Maya shook her head. "Leadership provides direction, but change requires collective effort. Your experience was essential in implementing these protocols effectively." A moment of silence stretched between them, not uncomfortable, but weighted with unspoken recognition. "I've been thinking a lot about our first meeting," Pearson finally said, his gaze steady. "About how quickly I made assumptions based on—" He hesitated. "Based on what you saw rather than who I am." Maya finished for him. He nodded. "I've been in medicine for 30 years. I've prided myself on being objective, on treating everyone equally. But these last months have shown me that equal treatment isn't the same as equitable care. That's a profound distinction, Maya observed. Many never recognize the difference. I still don't get everything right, he admitted. Old habits of thinking don't disappear overnight. But I'm learning. Maya smiled. We all are. That's the point. Medicine isn't static. Our understanding evolves, our practices improve, and our perspectives expand. When they don't, people suffer. Pearson gestured to the report between them. These numbers represent real lives. People who might have fallen through the cracks in our previous system. Like Tanya Washington, Maya said, the woman we treated together that first week. She came by for her follow-up yesterday. Pearson mentioned, brought her granddaughter, says she wants to become a cardiologist now. Maya's eyes brightened. That's the kind of ripple effect we don't always measure in our statistics. Speaking of ripples, Pearson said, Rivera mentioned the board is considering implementing similar protocols hospital-wide. Your impact is extending beyond cardiology. That was always the goal, Maya replied. Systemic change requires more than isolated improvements. Pearson nodded thoughtfully. I've been in this hospital for most of my career, seen administrations come and go, initiatives rise and fall, but this feels different. How so? It's sustainable, he said simply. You're not just imposing new rules, you're changing how people think about care itself. Maya leaned forward slightly. That's because we've approached this as partnership, not prescription. Every staff member, from surgeons to custodians, has valuable insights about how our systems work, or don't work, for different patients. The Community Advisory Board was particularly inspired, Pearson acknowledged, referring to a panel of local residents Maya had established to provide input on cardiac care accessibility. Having actual community voices in our planning sessions changed the conversation. Proximity to lived experience is irreplaceable, Maya agreed. Medical expertise is vital, but incomplete without understanding the real-world contexts our patients navigate. Outside her office, the hospital corridors hummed with evening activity, shift changes, family visits, the continuous rhythm of a healing institution adapting to serve its community more fully. There's something else, Pearson said, reaching into his jacket. He withdrew an envelope. The residents' committee asked me to give you this. Maya opened it to find an invitation to speak at the annual education conference, a platform traditionally reserved for the most senior physicians. They specifically requested you, he explained. They want to hear about equity-centered cardiac care, from the source. Maya felt a surge of emotion, not pride exactly, but profound satisfaction that the seeds she planted were taking root in the next generation of physicians. I'd be honored, she said. As Pearson rose to leave, he paused at the door. Dr. Johnson, Maya, I owe you an apology, not just for that first day, but for the resistance I showed in those early weeks. We've moved past that, she assured him. Still, it needs to be said, he insisted. I misjudged you based on biases I didn't even recognize I carried. In doing so, I nearly missed the opportunity to be part of something transformative. Maya stood, extending her hand across the divide that had once seemed unbridgeable. The true measure of character isn't avoiding mistakes, Dr. Pearson. It's how we respond when confronted with them. He shook her hand firmly. William, please. William, she echoed with a warm smile. After he left, Maya returned to the window, watching darkness settle over the city. She thought about her mother, how her unnecessary death had ignited a quiet determination that carried Maya through years of doubt, discrimination, and closed doors. How personal pain had transformed into professional purpose. The following week, Maya stood at a podium facing a packed auditorium of medical students, residents, and faculty from across the region. Dr. Pearson sat in the front row alongside Dr. Rivera and members of the hospital board. Medicine has always existed at the intersection of science and humanity, Maya began. Our technological capabilities advance rapidly, but our systems of delivery, who receives care when they receive it, and how they're treated in the process, often lag behind. She shared Westbrook's journey of transformation, carefully avoiding positioning herself as savior or Pearson as villain. This wasn't a story of individual heroes or villains, but collective awakening to patterns that have remained invisible to those who didn't experience their consequences. The most dangerous inequities aren't those we choose to create, she explained, but those we fail to see because they've been normalized within our systems. Excellence in medicine requires the courage to question not just what we do, but how and why we do it. From the audience, a young black medical student raised her hand. Dr. Johnson, what would you say to students who face the kind of assumptions you encountered when you arrived at Westbrook? Maya considered the question carefully, aware that her answer carried weight beyond this moment. I would say that your presence itself is revolutionary, that each door you open makes the next one easier for those who follow, that the perspectives you bring are not burdens to overcome, but assets that will make you a better physician. She paused, making eye contact with several students of color in the audience. And I would tell you that the systems we inherit are not the systems we must perpetuate. Every generation of healers has the opportunity and responsibility to make medicine more just than they found it. After the lecture, as Maya spoke with students and colleagues, Dr. Pearson approached with a woman Maya didn't recognize, elegant, poised, in her 60s. Dr. Johnson, he said, I'd like you to meet Dr. Eleanor Mitchell. She was the first black cardiologist at Westbrook 30 years ago. She retired before you arrived, but came especially to hear you speak. The women clasped hands, a current of unspoken understanding passing between them. Your work honors all who came before, Dr. Mitchell said softly, and lights the way for those who follow. Later that evening, Maya received an email from a young medical student who had asked a question. Attached was a photo of her grandmother, one of the cardiac patients whose improved treatment protocols had saved her life 3 months earlier. Today I watched my grandmother dance at my cousin's wedding, the student wrote. And I watched you show an auditorium full of future doctors what leadership with purpose looks like. Thank you for making both possible. Maya printed the email and pinned it to her office wall, a reminder that transformation happens not only in grand initiatives and policy changes, but in countless invisible moments of dignity restored, potential recognized, and lives touched. At Westbrook Memorial Hospital, those moments were multiplying daily. Each one a testament to what becomes possible when we have the courage to see beyond our assumptions, to recognize worth that has always been present, and to transform systems that were designed for some into institutions that serve all. The journey wasn't complete. Transformation never is. But as Maya Johnson reviewed applications for the new fellowship program focusing on equitable cardiac care, she knew with certainty the heart of medicine was beating stronger at Westbrook, pumping life-giving change through every corridor, every interaction, every patient encounter. And somewhere, in the invisible spaces where present action meets future possibility, new stories of healing were already beginning to unfold. Want to create lasting change in your organization? Remember Maya's approach. Lead with data, not accusations. Build strategic alliances across power structures. Connect systemic issues to human impact, and recognize that true transformation happens through collective effort, not individual heroics. Share this story to inspire conversations about how unconscious bias affects professional settings, and how we can all participate in creating more equitable systems.